Absolutely. No, she doesn't ask me. Welcome, everyone. If I could have your undivided attention, please. This is the beginning of class, and I know it's unusual to have someone other than the instructor of record to be introducing the class. Nevertheless, it's my pleasure to do so tonight on the occasion of the last class of Alex Faseruk. Sounds a little bit like an obituary, but not yet. My name is Will Serby, and I'm the Dean of the Faculty of Business Administration, and it's my pleasure to welcome so many people here tonight who've come from far and wide. And it's very much a tribute to Alex's contribution to the success of the Faculty of Business and to so many careers that people like yourselves are here tonight. So thank you very much for coming. This isn't going to be a formal class, I don't think. Alex hasn't exactly filled us in. Perhaps everyone should have brought pens and pencils and whatever you bring to a finance class, abacuses, I don't know. But we'll find out in a few minutes. And so Alex will take the lead, and then shortly after that, or sometime after that, we'll open up the catering, and the bar is already open. I like a session like this when the bar is open before you start to talk. That's always a good thing, both from the point of view of the audience and the presenter like myself. And so we look forward to having you mix and mingle after the class. I also want to mention that the White Trading Lab is open across the hall, and if you have not had the opportunity to visit the lab, I invite you to do that. Brad White is here today. Where's Brad? Thank you, Brad. Back left corner. The White Trading Lab is named in recognition of Brad's very generous contribution to the Faculty of Business Administration, which is also in no small part to Alex's contribution to Brad's success. I hope that's no overreaching. And I do want to say, on a general note, that our students are amazingly successful. This year, if you don't know, Enactus Memorial was again Canadian champion. 7 out of the last 9 years we've been Canadian champion, placed at number 8 in the world. We were really number 2 or 3 if the just pesky judges hadn't gotten away. Last month, the MBA team, consisting of 3 MBA students and a Master of Environmental Science student, placed number 1 in the world in the Global Business Challenge at the G20 event in Australia. And on one hand, you might say, well, boy, we've got amazing students, but it's not like we get amazing students in year 0, and they are amazing, they stay amazing, and they stay at a constant level throughout their time here. There is a transformation process. And yes, we get wonderful students who are smart and talented and work really hard. But the transformation process has everything to do with the ability and the commitment and the hard work of all of our faculty and staff. Alex is one example of that, and there are so many others across our faculty who are part of that transformation of our students. I want to acknowledge everyone in the faculty who makes our students the great success that they are. Another student, speaking of which, Josh Quinton is here. Somewhere, where's Josh? Josh is back there. And Josh is also contributed to the Bloomberg Lab. Josh works at Bloomberg in New York. And so again, if you haven't had an opportunity, Josh can help you with that. And I also want to single out Luke O'Brien. I see you back there, Luke. Luke is our financial management executive in residence, and is taking over as a bit of our Bloomberg guru from Alex as he slowly makes his departure. So, again, please visit. Before Alex takes the stage for the last time, I wanted to tell you a little bit here. And I'm tempted to turn this into a bit of Alex Faseruk Jeopardy. So, can anyone, there's a glass of wine for the first person to shout out the correct answer. When did Alex Faseruk begin his employment at Memorial University? Ash, Charbonnet? 1981, glass of wine for Ash, the same? Excellent. How many teaching awards has Alex won? Many is not a precise answer.
35.
35 is too high. I don't know if I should say that. Close. Someone else? Anyone want to try?
27.
27, closer. 24. Very good. Give that man a glass of wine. Excellent. 24 teaching awards, including Professor of the Year from several graduating classes, the President's Award for Distinguished Teaching, a 3M Teaching Fellowship, the Distinguished Teaching Award from the Academy of Finance, the Beta Gamma Sigma Leadership Award, and Memorial's Faculty Volunteer Leader Award. Amazing. Alex has coached Memorial teams in national and international case, paper writing, stock market, and entrepreneurial competitions for over 25 years. How many first place finishes?
10. 5.
5? Too low. 10 is too low. 12? Someone else? 15? No.
30.
Alex, do you know? Over 50, 5-0, first place finishes, and how much in prize money?
Millions.
See, the finance people are starting to exaggerate that. $100,000 in prize money. He was recognized by both the Intercollegiate Business Competition as well as by the John Wilson International MBA Case Competition as an outstanding coach. In his academic and research roles, okay, this is the last question. How many academic papers?
103.
Who said 103? I think that,
117.
what's the actual number, Alex?
She's right.
He's right. Mine was just an over 100, so 117. But again, an amazing record. And Alex is very much a triple threat. Excellent as a teacher, obviously, outstanding as an academic, and an outstanding servitor to faculty, to the university, and to his academic community. Alex also serves on the editorial boards of 3 journals. He is the first Canadian to hold the position of president for MBA International, has been president of the Atlantic Schools of Business, and on 2 occasions was finance chair of the Administrative Sciences Association of Canada. He's admired for his enthusiasm in developing financial management expertise in his students, as many of you here in this room can attest, and his expertise has helped the business faculty at Memorial University become a leader in financial management education in Canada. And we have no real right to that in terms of where we are in the world. We are not London, we are not all those other financial capitals. And so if you ask the question, why is it that Memorial University, why is it the faculty of business administration at Memorial University has had such an impact on the careers of people in financial industry in Canada and internationally? It's largely because of Alex. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a warm welcome to Dr. Alex.
I'd like to thank Will for his very kind comments. It's always better to be on the receiving side than on the giving side. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'll reverse that. It's better to give than to receive. I'd like to point out that we have a banner. There is an Alex Faseruk banner, but it's missing in action. So as opposed to the old guy who's leaving, we have a new person who's an up-and-coming superstar. So Ginger, you should bask in your glory for the next while. Now that I've suitably embarrassed her, she's over by the rather large trophy which we have. But it's wonderful that so many people have come out tonight. And it's good to be among so many friends and in some cases relatives as well. I had to drag my wife here. Actually, that's a lie. She said she wouldn't miss it for the world. We do have some live streaming being done. So there is eventually going to be a YouTube or something which is provided. And I do want to see it go viral. So maybe we make a large amount of hits on it. It's also nice that people have come in from all over the place. Brad White was down in the Cayman Islands and arrived at 4 p.m. last night, but he's here, so this is very important.
4 a.m.
4 a.m. Did I say 4 p.m. tonight? Anyway, 4 a.m. Anyway, I'm concentrating, so it's a little bit of a problem. Anyway, when I first came here, this area did not exist. This was a little bit of a field because we used to have an enclosure here. But in 1987, we put 2 floors on the building, and we developed an atrium, which is quite important. My first class, which I ever taught, was just across the hall, beside the white trading lab in 1010. And I remember my very first question. I was teaching public finance, and Yossi Berman, who was from Israel, drove a tank in some of the conflicts along the way, berated me when I started criticizing amounts which government spent on defense. And he said, "Get over it." And I've been getting over questions ever since. And by the way, I won't be taking any questions tonight. My favorite question of all time was in the investments class, and somebody asked me, how often do the daily reports come out? And I just said daily. But it's quite good. Now, in my retirement, I can wax eloquently about being philosophical along the way. I remember one time when I was still a wrestling coach, And Canada didn't perform as well as it should have at the 1976 Olympics. And so we got the Soviet Union coach over, and he said, there's no magic to this. The most important thing is hard work. The harder you work, the better you're going to do, to be able to appreciate your goals. But he said the one thing which Canada is lacking is a philosophy on wrestling, is that the Americans would do chain wrestling, catch. If it didn't work, then they would immediately go to another one. The Soviets were a little bit more pedantic, that they were going to get the hold, they were going to get it right, and nobody was going to stand in the way. The Japanese were there, this is my territory, you insult me to the mat, so I'm going to do something. And he said the Canadians just ran around, flicking their arms, not knowing what they're doing. He said, develop a philosophy and stick to it. And I think this is the most important thing which we can engender within the faculty of this administration and educators as a whole. The word philosophy comes from philo, which of course means love, and Sophia, which means wisdom. So the love of wisdom becomes very important. Once you have that down, then everything else will fall into place. As educators, we should also realize the root of the word education comes from the word ex and doctor. To mean we can't put ideas in, that's indoctrination, but we always have to strive to lead up the best people. So I think it's very important to approach these with a sense of optimism, because if you're pessimistic, you're not going to be able to do anything. Miller Eyre, who isn't here tonight, had a really good quote at one point. He said, don't tell me how things can't be done. Anybody can do that. Tell me how things can be done. To develop an action plan, to have your philosophy, and then to go for it. The big thing, I think, is when we do a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, it's very happening. But I think the most important thing is when you can turn your weaknesses into strengths and turn your threats into opportunities. Then you can do a heck of a lot, which is a lot better. And basics will never lead you astray. More often than not, ideas seem complicated, but complicated ideas usually many simple ideas put together. The difference between a simplistic notion and a simple notion. But as we set off, let us always remember that the longest of journeys always begins with a single step. Many people are too afraid to take that single step. It's fear of failure. But fear of failure should never stop you. Will went over some of the great competition victories which we've had, and it's never been the love of winning which has spurred me on. It's always been the fear of failure. There's the risk of failure, but then you take steps to overcome those risks and then keep on going. But don't try to reinvent the wheel. We stand on the shoulders of giants which have gone before us. If I was at a retirement party for a lot of my professors, I would laud the great things which they did for me along the way. And I think it's important to then share that knowledge and give it with others. So when we go through this, there's going to be the teaching, which we do in faculty, which is really recycling old knowledge. We know it. We're going to teach it over and over again. A lot of times we want to show the how, which is easy, but we have to explain the why things fall into the paradigms in which they do. And this is why we do research, to keep our knowledge current, to be on the cutting edge and leading edge of business. And we have some superb researchers on the faculty we're going to attract even more. We attracted many forms of teachers. But ultimately, we're there for service orientation, is that we serve our various constituencies by doing a good job, the good jobs that we do. And I know I've got people in options and futures and investment classes with all these old adages of Wall Street, but some of them are fairly good. I'm going to ignore one which Rick Roskin tries to point out. He keeps telling me there's no future in options. Anyway, he's long since retired, so who cares what he thinks. And I've always referred to Rick as has-been, but that's not very kind. But actually, I owe a tremendous amount of gratitude for Rick. He had me as an associate dean, and as I said to him once, who runs this faculty, you or me? And he says, sorry, and walked away. But that's also a reminder about very outcomes. I would also like to thank many of the deans which have been my privilege to serve under. Jim Barnes, who hired me to see that marketing does have its uses, and sometimes I'm not able to make the right decision. I know the screening was done by a marketing person, but he's also a Toronto Maple Leaf fan, so that's very important. Then, of course, Rick Roskin, Bill Blake, who can disagree with Gary Gorman as Dean Emeritus, who led this faculty for a great many years, and of course Dale Foster, who filled in for an important role, made some good contributions, and now we see the culmination coming up in the current dean with Zerby. So some of these old adages, you should always pay attention because there's so much conventional wisdom. Buy when there's blood in the streets. One of my absolutely favorite. When everything seems to be going wrong, then is the time for optimism. Then you can get involved. Buy on the rumor, to sell on the news. Stocks aren't bought, they're sold. Whenever you get into an investment, you always have to think about the investiture, not the acquisition. It's easy to buy, it's more difficult to sell. But then a stock well bought is a stock well sold. And of course, the stock market understands two emotions, fear and greed, and these are very powerful emotions. Bears make money, bulls make money, but all of them pigs with its law. There's so many more, but I'm sure if you want, I can recall these for you at the time. I would also say that other disciplines are important. I used to think not much of psychology, but there is so much psychology in the market, but to herding instincts and also in people. History, all bubbles will eventually burst. And I would like to point out that people who don't know the history will ultimately repeat that history. But people who know the history will watch other people repeat the history, but they can learn from it. So I think that's very important. And as Ecclesiastes, the book in the Bible says, there is nothing new under the sun. And we're going to see things coming up over and over again. Don't be overcompensated, conflicted, think too much of numbers. Numbers are ultimately a shorthand for what we're doing in terms of strategic amounts there. And please, never hold speculators in disrepute. If we didn't have speculators, we wouldn't be able to hedge. So I think it's very important. And don't be afraid to go against the markets, because markets are ultimately collective ignorance. And when you really get down to it, an informed decision maker will always be better than collective ignorance. So on that note, not that collective ignorance is in this room in any way, shape, or form, or that I'm the only informed decision maker. But I must have been a really terrible student to have taught in high school, because I came to the realization that I was smarter than most of the people teaching. And I could be a pain from time to time. I know you would have difficulty in following but now, they of course had better degrees and more degrees than I did at the time. But now I must have become mature, because I realize that there are many people in the room who are smarter, and they can go on to excel. And that's what ultimately we all try to do. Bring out the best in people so they can excel. It's wonderful to see so many people here tonight. By the way, I do have some term papers and quizzes to give back for the investments course. So if you haven't seen me yet, please see them. But I'd like to thank everybody for coming and for enjoying this last particular class. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everybody. Now, I think Alex said he wasn't going to take any questions. At the same time, sometimes people make comments after class, and the mic is open if anyone feels so moved. We'd be happy to do that. We could, if you think it's wireless, we could pass it around. That would be exciting.
Well, Alex said that he was afraid of not winning, but I can tell you from personal experiences when it wasn't the Molson competition, but the RBC competition, and Alex's team won and had won a number of times for that. I had the privilege of being with him one night in the big gold building in Toronto on the top floor, and he sure knew how to celebrate the win. And just below that, the tension and that high profile stuff. And he's a pretty good dancer. We went to the Sky Dome and coming back after. So that's a couple of stories from back. I don't know, I don't think you were there, Cheryl. I don't recall.
I'm going to leave this up here so you know where to find it. But please enjoy the refreshments and the food. And if you feel like offering some entertainment or some words, please feel free to. Thanks very much.
There we go.